What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4. I want to talk about when we are going to see this game, because the history and what Marvel Ultimate Alliance is quite fascinating, and the fact that I think a lot of people are really loving this game. It has the feel of a very old school, that top-down kind of brawler game, and that's maybe because, considering the last game was 10 years ago, it still holds a lot of that same feel. Now, is this game perfect? No, and I've talked about that in other videos. I feel like this game is like a guilty pleasure for a lot of different people because of what it is. It's got a lot of aspects in it that I think is really, really fun, including even myself. I really do like this game. I think this game is really, really fun. I think it's fun to even play it by yourself or play with another person. I'm really enjoying it. At the same time, and it's just really cool to see all these characters together, to see the villains, to go room to room, beat up people, use all the different abilities, fight all these different villains. There's a lot to love about this game. At the same time, it just feels overall, it feels like a last gen game. The camera work is absolutely awful. There's a lot of things that are very, very below, where I would expect a video game to be halfway through 2019, and it fails to reach a lot of those marks. But again, I feel like that's just because it hasn't come out in 10 years. Some of that old school kind of feel is literally still there because they haven't done it in so long. The question is this: it ends on a cliffhanger. In a way, it ends where you could very, very easily see them do another one. It's coming out in an era where these Marvel games are starting to get pushed. Marvel is really trying to make a movement to allow these studios to make games. We have Spider-Man. We have Spider-Man 2 that Insomniac's working on as well. I'm sure we'll get that within a couple years. We have Marvel's Avengers, Square Enix's game that's coming out next May, and is going to be continue to have content come to it, although I don't love that idea. It's going to have content that's coming to it for years. So, there's a push there. There's a Guardians of the Galaxy game that's rumored to be in development. There's a lot of stuff that's happening with Marvel in general. And then we have Marvel Ultimate Alliance. And this serves and they all serve, actually, a very different kind of genre from each other. Spider-Man is that, open world, kind of counter to the Batman Arkham games. Maybe, a direct thing against, or to fight against Warner Bros. Batman. And I love both. I absolutely love Spider-Man. And I think the Arkham franchise is one of the best trilogies ever put together, in the history of gaming. So you got that. You have Marvel's Avengers, which is more of that Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Uncharted-like thing that is the story, but you could also play it online, maybe kind of a fight against Destiny, stuff like that. And you have Ultimate Alliance, which is that, again, top-down kind of brawler. That's just a very, very different kind of game that we don't see, firstly, all that many games in this genre in the first place, right? This isn't the most populated genre in all of gaming, especially now, the push towards the live services. Open worlds are a big thing. Zombies used to be, and they've kind of trailed off. But, in terms of like the themes and the kind of games being pushed, this isn't the biggest medium in the world, but it serves a really good purpose, and it's selling quite well. This game is selling over their expectations, and you gotta think, and again, this is also coming out not just in a push of gaming, but you look at the movies, and one could argue if these movies are going to start going downhill with this next phase. But no matter what your beliefs are, no matter political beliefs, whatever, these movies have been massive, and we've gone through 22 that have been just so big, so amazing. 23 now with Spider-Man, right? So many movies that have really built this universe up very, very well. I think no matter how you cut it, and whether or not they start to fall apart over this next phase, that's left to be, that's left for these movies to decide for themselves, basically. It's still very, very big, and I think it's still going to be very big. You're still going to see movie after movie getting close to, if not hitting, like $1 billion. So Marvel is still very much, and is probably the biggest thing out there, right? And so you can't have the next game be in 10 years. And again, it ends kind of on a cliffhanger. We see those eyes in the galaxy, so we know that there's a new villain coming. Is it Eternity? Is it Oblivion? Is it the Beyonders? We've talked about that in past videos. Will Thanos return for the next game? I think so. Again, we talked about that in yesterday's video. So there's so many things that you leave the game on a big cliffhanger where you very well can set up you basically have set up a new game. You just need to make it. It's coming out where all these Marvel games are starting to pick up steam, where you're going to start to see more Marvel video games out there, and it's coming out when the movies are still very, very big and going on to the next phase. So you can't have it be, I think, even 5 years. I think think the next game, I think these games need to start to come out a little bit faster. And I think 10 years is obviously some things happen there, and you can't have that happen another time. I feel like it needs to get cut down dramatically, and then maybe because of everything, because of the movies, because of all the other games, because of the sales doing better than they thought, maybe they look at it and say, well, we're ready. Just jump in, make the next game. The DLC, they're having immense support for this game through DLC. They're going to have, like 16 characters come through paid DLC, and also some characters come in free DLC. So that's really cool. So they're obviously supporting this game. They want people to play it. They want to give you more reasons to play it by giving you more characters. And what's stopping them from, when that DLC is done, to start work on the next game? I mean, overall, like graphically, it looks pretty okay. It's not the prettiest game in the world. I like the art style of it. I think the biggest thing, though, is when they do the next game, they need to work on all those, side features that I think we kind of take for granted in video games nowadays. Those are things they need to bring up to speed. I don't want them to rush it. I don't want this game to be every 2 years. I don't want this game to be annualized, and none of that's going to happen. I feel like, especially because of Nintendo, being a Nintendo exclusive, it's going to get the time it deserves. It's going to, get worked on. It's going to become pretty good. I know some Nintendo games tend to get passes, or aspects of them tend to get passes because they're Nintendo exclusives. I know a lot of people have said, say a game like Legend of Zelda, if that game just came out on all consoles, the review scores or how people think or treat those games, it would drop by a couple points. I honestly tend to agree for some games, and I don't think my fun level, having fun in Ultimate Alliance, is because it's on the Switch. I think it is just overall a fun game, and I think it's a very, very deeply flawed game. With that being said, those games are sometimes some of the better games because you look at it and you see all the potential. I feel like we've gone through a year of a couple games like that. A game like Days Gone that came out and I thought is above average. It was an above average game. Some people really didn't like it. Some people thought, it was a waste of their money. That's fine. You can think that. I thought it was a above average game that is loaded of potential. That if they take fan feedback and they say, okay, here's the things that fans didn't like. Here's their honest criticism of the game. Let's fix it for Days Gone 2. The potential for a second entry is massive. I really think they can do an even better job and do a really amazing job on the second game. I see the same thing here. This game, at its core, is just a fun game. A fun game you can play with friends. Seeing all of your favorite Avengers, seeing all these people together, so cool. Does it have a lot of problems? Yeah. Do we probably want to see another one within the next 5 years at the absolute latest? Yeah, we do. So I feel like this is a guarantee. I feel like because of the sales, because of the movies, because of the games, I feel like they need to get this. They need to work on some things. The next game does need to be improved. I feel like you do need to have some breathing room. There's a game like this, that kind of, again, brawler game. I feel like they kind of get old after. That's just my opinion. I feel like they tend to get a little old and repetitive after a little while. Obviously, all the abilities, all the different characters, the leveling up, doing all those things, the branching abilities that you can do, that obviously makes the game a little bit more dynamic and makes you able to play it a little bit longer. I get that, and I completely understand that. I see myself going back and playing this game more than once, which I can't say about literally 95% of the games I play. So they have that going for them, but they need to, there's some work to be done, and I feel like the next game should come out within the next 3 to 4 years. That's when I would put, my prediction on when we would get the next game. But guys, let me know in the comments below, when do you think Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4 is releasing? What do you want them to fix on it? What do you think of the third game? All those things, let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel Podcast Now. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And thank you, as always, for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video.